The air hung thick with the smell of dust and decaying celluloid. Simon, a film editor with a passion for vintage cinema, found himself in the bowels of a nondescript building in downtown Los Angeles. He had been hired by a mysterious agency called Celestial View to digitize a collection of old film reels. The pay was too good to refuse, and the work seemed simple enough. Little did he know, he was stepping into a nightmare far beyond the realms of fiction. The agency had provided him with a small, dimly lit room filled with vintage film equipment. Reels upon reels were stacked haphazardly, their labels faded and cryptic. The flickering light of the projector cast long, dancing shadows on the wall, giving the room an eerie, almost spectral ambiance. As Simon began to work his way through the first few reels, he noticed something strange. The films were not what he expected. They were amateur footage, home movies, and newsreels, but they were filled with disturbing imagery, unsettling events, and an overwhelming sense of dread. One evening, as Simon was taking a break, he stumbled upon a hidden room. Inside, he found ancient artifacts, strange symbols drawn on the floor, and hooded figures chanting in an unknown language. Fear gripped him. He had stumbled upon something sinister, something far more profound and terrifying than he could have ever imagined. The agency was not what it seemed. It was a front, a mask for something ancient and evil, something that used the magic of film to corrupt and destroy. Simon felt a chill run down his spine. He knew he had to get out, to escape the clutches of this demonic cult masquerading as a film preservation agency. But it was too late. They were watching him, their eyes everywhere, their grip on his fate tightening with each passing moment.
The year is 1944. Jack, a struggling cartoonist, stumbles upon a hidden antique shop tucked away in a forgotten corner of the city. Inside, amidst the dusty relics and forgotten treasures, he finds a beautiful, ornate fountain pen. Drawn to its intricate design, he buys it, unaware of the dark power it holds. That night, as Jack sits down to work, the pen seems to move on its own, guiding his hand, drawing him into the world of his latest cartoon, a whimsical, surreal world populated by anthropomorphic animals. At first, it seems like a dream come true, a chance to live inside his own creation. But soon, the lines between reality and fantasy begin to blur. The cartoon world turns sinister, the cute animals transforming into grotesque, demonic caricatures. Jack finds himself trapped in a nightmarish animation, hunted by his own creations. The pen, a conduit to a hellish dimension, feeds on his fear and desperation. Jack realizes he must break free from the pen's control before he loses himself completely to the ink-soaked nightmare he's become trapped within. The whimsical world he created has become a prison, a terrifying testament to the power of his own imagination turned against him.
The humid air hung heavy with the scent of magnolia and the weight of unspoken history. It was 1955, and Martha, a young and ambitious reporter, was investigating the rumors surrounding Sugar Hill, a dilapidated plantation on the outskirts of New Orleans. Locals whispered of hauntings, of vengeful spirits seeking retribution for past atrocities. Intrigued and skeptical in equal measure, Martha sets out to uncover the truth, armed with her notepad and a thirst for a groundbreaking story. As she delves deeper into the history of Sugar Hill, she uncovers a dark and brutal past. The plantation was once the site of unimaginable cruelty, where slaves were tortured and murdered by their masters. Their pain and suffering seem to have seeped into the very soil, leaving behind a residue of hatred and despair. At night, the plantation comes alive with the mournful cries of the enslaved souls. Shadows move in the darkness, whispering voices speak of unspeakable horrors, and Martha finds herself face to face with the vengeful ghosts of Sugar Hill. They are not there to frighten her, but to seek justice, to make their pain known, and to ensure that their story is never forgotten.
The year is 1967, the summer of love. A group of friends, Mark, Sarah, David, and Janet embark on a camping trip in the Redwood National Park, seeking adventure and a break from the escalating turmoil of the Vietnam War. Their idyllic retreat takes a terrifying turn when they witness a strange object crash into the dense forest, its fiery descent illuminating the night sky. Curiosity gets the better of them, and they venture into the woods, drawn towards the crash site. Their search leads them to a clearing, where they find the wreckage of what appears to be a small, metallic craft of unknown origin. As they approach cautiously, they realise they are not alone. Something is moving in the shadows, something massive and bipedal, its eyes glowing with an eerie, otherworldly light. Fear grips them as they realise they have stumbled upon something ancient and terrifying, a creature of myth and legend, awakened by the crash. The creature, a Bigfoot, is not what they expected. It's not a mindless beast, but a being of immense power and intelligence, driven by an unknown agenda. Their encounter with the creature in the shadow of the mountain becomes a fight for survival, a desperate attempt to escape the clutches of a legend come to life.
The air crackled with energy. Studio 66 pulsed, a disco ball heart beating inside a neon ribcage. It was 1978, and this was the place to be. Inside, bodies moved under a shower of lights. Platform shoes stomped. Laughter and the intoxicating rhythm of the Bee Gees filled the air. The scent of perfume, sweat, and something undefinable hung heavy. It smelled like excitement, like freedom, like a secret too good to keep. Studio 66 promised a night of abandon, a place to lose yourself in the music and the lights. Tonight, it was about to deliver that promise, but with a terrifying twist. Mark adjusted his collar, butterflies fluttering in his stomach.
Ready.
He whispered, looking at his friends. Lisa, all big hair and bigger dreams, grinned.
Ready.
David, the tall, quiet one, just nodded, eyes fixed on the club's entrance. They were high school seniors, underage but not underexperienced. Sneaking into Studio 66 was a rite of passage, a challenge whispered between locker slams and hurried homework assignments. Tonight it was their turn to join the ranks of those who danced under the disco ball's hypnotic spell. Hours melted away in a blur of flashing lights and pulsating music. The air grew thick, heavy. The scent of freedom morphed into something cloying, almost metallic. Lisa, usually a dancing queen, slowed down, a crease forming between her brows.
Something's not right.
She shouted, her voice lost in the music. Mark, caught in the rhythm, barely registered her words. Then the music stopped. Silence descended, thick and absolute, like a shroud. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Then a low growl, barely audible, vibrated through the floor, up their legs, into their bones. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced the haze of excitement. The lights flickered, plunging the club into darkness. When they sputtered back on, the dancers were gone. In their place, creatures out of nightmares. Their eyes glowed red in the darkness, their skin a sickly green. Claws, long and sharp, glinted under the strobing lights. These were not people, not anymore.
Mark, what is happening? These things are not human.
Mark watched in horror as a demon lunged, its claws tearing through the air where a disco dancer had stood moments before. Screams, raw and primal, filled the air, only to be cut short by sickening crunching sounds. The scent of blood, metallic and sharp, replaced the sweet perfume, choking the air. They were trapped in a nightmare, the music replaced by the symphony of screams.
Welcome to your worst nightmare, mortals.
Panic, raw and consuming, seized Mark.
We have to get out of here.
He yelled, grabbing Lisa and David's hands. They pushed through the throng of terrified dancers, now scrambling for the exits. A demon, its eyes burning into Mark's, blocked their path.
Mark, watch out.
He didn't hesitate. He shoved Lisa and David towards the exit, a silent prayer escaping his lips. The demon lunged, claws tearing through the air, missing Mark by a hair's breadth. He didn't look back. He could hear Lisa's screams, could feel the heat of the demon's breath on his neck. The exit, a beacon of hope, was within reach. He could almost taste freedom.
Keep going, we're almost there.
They burst through the doors, gasping for air into the cool night, but the night offered no solace. The street outside, usually bustling with life, was deserted. Buildings twisted, groaning, their facades melting like wax under a flame. The moon, a bloody red eye in the sky, watched impassively. A swirling vortex, an abyss of fire and brimstone, opened up in the middle of the street. The screams from inside the club intensified, pulling at them, dragging them closer. They were caught in its pull, their feet slipping on the pavement, their fingers grasping at nothing. Then, with a final heart-stopping lurch, they were gone, swallowed whole by the fiery abyss. The music of hell awaited. Tonight we delve deeper into the dark rituals surrounding the Devil's films. Our story resumes with an unsuspecting editor hired to digitize ancient, forgotten footage. Little did he know, these were no ordinary films. As he meticulously worked frame by frame, the sinister agency lurking in the shadows was preparing their ultimate sacrifice. For them, this editor was the perfect vessel, a pawn in their twisted game. They believed his blood would be the final ingredient to invoke their dark lord. As the last reel was digitized, the editor met a grisly end. His blood seeped into the celluloid, binding the old footage with the new in a cursed union. The films, now tainted with his essence, became a conduit for chaos and destruction. Imagine watching an innocent-looking horror film,
only to have your life spiral into madness. That's the fate awaiting unsuspecting viewers. Each frame now carries an unholy curse, waking the malevolent force trapped within. Reports have surfaced of viewers experiencing inexplicable events. Flickering lights, eerie whispers, shadows creeping where they shouldn't be. It's as if the darkness from the screen reaches out, crossing the boundary into our world. Some say these films are a gateway, a direct link to the demonic realm. Others believe it's the editor's tortured soul, seeking revenge from beyond the grave. But one thing is certain, once you press play, there's no turning back. These cursed films are not just stories. They're a living, breathing nightmare, spreading their malevolence far and wide. The agency's true goal, to unleash pandemonium, to disrupt the very fabric of reality. So next time you stumble upon an obscure horror film, beware. It might just be one of the devil's films. And if you dare to watch, remember this: some curses can never be undone. Stay safe and keep the lights on. Until next time.